everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this Monday. I'm Elise Heedy, and I will be streaming with you today. Quite a bit of news to get to as we begin the day together, but if you have a flight today, let's start with some really important information you'll certainly need as you prepare to head to the airport. You'll definitely want to get there just a few hours early, always the case, but especially today, and that is because this morning Hartsville-Jackson is experiencing some unusual wait times at security. You may have seen this on social media, seen this on the news, but this is happening due to TSA staffing shortages is what we're seeing. Been quite a few complaints from those that are trying to pass through security as well. So we do know federal workers have been going without pay while the government remains shut down. That includes TSA workers as well. So here's a statement that was posted at about 9:56 this morning, and it says, due to TSA staffing shortages, passengers may experience longer than usual wait times at security checkpoints. Hartsville-Jackson personnel and community experience representatives are on site to provide wayfinding support as needed. That statement that we just had goes on to say, we encourage travelers to allow extra time for security, and we appreciate your patience as they work to get those operations back to where they should be. So this is very important. Again, if you are planning to travel through Hartsville-Jackson, really any airport, but talking specifically of the one here at home, do expect those lines to be a little bit longer. No indication just yet that that's having an impact on flights, but let's check FlightAware just to see where we sit with that. So I checked last at about 10:42, and it looked like there were about 148 flight delays and 2 cancellations out of Hartsville-Jackson. So not too bad just yet, but there is something just to keep in mind if you're headed out. So the very latest on this, okay, it's gone up just a bit. 167 is what we're seeing so far, those delays, and there are 2 cancellations out of Hartsville-Jackson. But check FlightAware before you head out just to make sure the flight that you're planning on taking isn't delayed too badly or canceled. So again, about 167 flights out of Hartsville-Jackson delayed, 2 are canceled. Do expect to be in the security checkpoint for quite a bit longer. Switching gears now and taking a live look at Capitol Hill. This is where later today, Senate Democrats will get another opportunity to try to vote to reopen the government. Again, that government shutdown is now into its 20th day. And remember, the holdup here, what's keeping us in limbo, is a funding bill. Both sides have not been able to come to an agreement on this, or even to almost meet somewhere in the middle to try to compromise and get things up and running once again. So the Senate floor is set to open at 3 p.m. and a vote is set to take place at 5:30 p.m. And we will keep you updated on any advancements that happen with that. Now, back here at home, a woman running for East Point City Council is facing some pretty serious criminal charges. This is weeks before Election Day, and some of those charges in this case are pretty horrific. We're talking about Marie Terry. She's running again for East Point Council. Those charges include 3 counts of child cruelty by a foster parent to teens aged 13 to 17. Those accusations are hitting the teens with a skillet, a wooden grill scraper, and a plastic bat when they, quote, needed to be disciplined. The warrants also claim Terry forced the children to eat cat feces, made threats of harm if they did not comply. Investigators say that she also made the teens sleep on the basement floor without bedding, would sometimes even lock them in a closet without a light. So we spoke with a few of her neighbors. They're saying they cannot believe this. They're shocked that this was going on right next door. One woman we spoke with says Terry was known for delivering food to those in need and cleaning the neighborhood up. So again, they had no indication that this is what the situation was there at her home. So Miss Terry, we're told in the statement here, remains steadfast in her commitment to community, is denying these allegations, calling them false, and asking the public and the media to withhold judgment until all of the details of this come out. All right, so it looks like now we're going to jump ahead just a little bit and bring in Caitlin Pratt. She's on top of a big case that we're following this morning. A man, Reginald Robinson, is set to appear in court later this morning on some very serious charges. A case that's gained local attention, it's gained national attention as well, and it's been quite a long time coming, Caitlin.
Right, we're talking about 2021. That's when the victim in this case, Tiffany Foster, first disappeared. She was 35 years old at the time of that disappearance. Maybe you're seeing her face. Oh, yeah, that's right. What happened to her? Well, that's what her family's trying to figure out. Prosecutors, police, they think they know, though. And the person accused of killing her, her fiance, Reginald Robinson, is going to be going before a judge, before a courtroom today in Coweta County. You see him right there on your screen. Her fiance, back in 2021, told police that she went out to get groceries, never came home. Her car ended up being discovered in College Park. It had been abandoned, and her wallet was inside, her cell phone was inside, and police were able to grab those items and collect some clues, and they ultimately made an arrest in that case. It took them 2 years, but they did make that arrest, including her fiance and also someone who lived at that apartment complex. His name, not family at all, but Jeremy Walker, 46 years old, also living at that complex. He was charged with concealing Foster's death, stealing her car. He's accused of working directly with the suspect, Mr. Robertson, after Foster's killing. So at this point, we're waiting for these proceedings to begin in Coweta County. We have, I should say, been talking to this family for years now. They've had so many rallies. They've increased money for information, leading to information in this case, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Unfortunately, they came to the grim realization that their loved one was dead. And last year, they declared her legally dead. And they did have a special ceremony marking the 4th anniversary of her disappearance to say goodbye. They tell Fox 5, though, this wasn't closure for them. Closure, they say, is going to be coming in a courtroom. I do believe we have some sound from one of those family members who we've checked in with over the years. All right, we'll try to get that for you later. Yeah. We don't, that's okay, because we're going to stay on top of this case and bring you updates.
For them, what makes this so much more difficult too is that they just want closure.
Yeah.
In this case.
And also, Elise, they want her remains.
Right.
Right? Can you imagine having a goodbye ceremony, a funeral, and you don't have your loved one's remains? They're hoping that, they're pushing, I should say, for that information so that they can bring their loved ones home. Tiffany Foster, the mother of 3 people, 35 years old when she disappeared in 2021. So we'll keep you updated on this case for sure.
Of course, yeah, and this is a case, you know, we were talking earlier about this, that Doug Evans has been on top of, so I can imagine he is you know, leading our portion of this and keeping us up to date. So I think this is a story that Doug is on top of. But do we know, Caitlin, about jury selection? If that's something that began today, have we gotten any word just yet?
I think that's what is developing, but I will say I think it'll be interesting to see how hard it is for them to find an impartial jury, right? Yeah. Because this is a case that's been in the newspaper, been on Fox 5, been on national news. So it's going to be probably a challenge to find a jury of his peers that have not heard about this case.
Yes. Course, and if you're just joining us right now, talking about the trial of Reginald Robinson that is set to get underway this morning, has been many years coming. So this is a story we will be on top of, and we'll keep you updated on this. But Caitlin has been, you know, keeping us up to speed this morning on this, so we certainly appreciate it, Caitlin.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
All right, well, still ahead for you this morning, we are talking about the need for Narcan and just how much use for that has increased in recent years, especially among our first responders. So I'm going to check in with one of them in just a few minutes. Stick around. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for being with us today. October is National Substance Abuse Awareness Month, so a really important topic that we're about to dive into. This year, a new and really sobering trend is sounding the alarm all across the Southeast. Paramedics with Atlanta-based AmeriPro Health are reporting a 58% year-over-year increase in the number of Narcan administrations across their 9-state service area. So you can see where this is trending here, and obviously something that's important to talk about. So joining us this morning to do just that, we have Josh Worth, a licensed paramedic and director of clinical services at AmeriPro Health. So Josh, good morning, and thank you so much for being on with us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Hey, of course, important topic always, but especially when you talk about it being National Substance Abuse Awareness Month. So let's dive into this and talk about the number. I mean, a 58% increase. That's a huge jump in Narcan use. So, I mean, what does this mean to you in terms of the communities that are being served, and what are you seeing?
Yeah, so for us, it just means that we're seeing a sustained risk here of patients with opiate use disorder, it's important to remember that some of those are going to be repeat administrations. This is a disease that can really affect people for their whole lives, and so even with the increase, it's just important to remember the steps that we can take as a community to ensure the safety of these humans.
Yeah, and to help us understand just a little bit about what you guys are seeing out on the streets on a day-to-day basis, I mean, how often are your paramedics administering Narcan right now?
So we're administering Narcan about 2 to 3 times a day across our footprint. Again, across our 9 states, we administer again 2 to 3 times a day throughout
Mm-hmm.
the country.
So one of the things that's an aspect in this as well is that this stigma when it comes to the barrier around Narcan. So can you talk about why that matters specifically in these life and death situations that our paramedics find themselves in?
Yeah, so the stigma really is just that it is increasing the ability for patients to maybe feel safer using. But again, that's not the case, right? What really our ability to provide Narcan, whether that's the public through public access Narcan or our paramedics in the street, is really as a prevention tool to help prevent deaths and increase the survivability of these patients as they're going through a very difficult time and a very difficult disease to combat.
Yeah, and one of the things you just mentioned is public access, which is so important. So I want to talk about that just a little bit more. You've compared Narcan access to things like AEDs in public spaces. So what are you advocating for, I guess we should say, when it comes to where this medication should be available?
Yeah, so public access naloxone is available in most states over the counter or from a pharmacy. And it's very important that, again, just like an AED, the more people that have naloxone, the more readily available it is, the easier it can be for someone to save a life if they encounter a patient suffering from an opiate overdose. So it's very important that if you have the ability to get it, in your state, you can get it in Georgia over the counter. It's important that you go and do that and you have that on you because you never know where you may be that you might be able to impact someone's life that day and save their life while, again, an ambulance and the paramedics are responding.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned having that on hand because, like you said, you never know when that's something that you'll be able to put to good use. But are there any other things that we should do or just guidelines to keep in mind when it comes to, say, you witness an overdose before emergency crews arrive?
Yeah, so the big thing is, again, to make sure that you're safe, make sure the patient is safe, make sure that the bystanders or anybody else that may be around are not going to be in danger. Make sure that you have that naloxone with you if possible so that you can give it, because that is the definitive treatment and the definitive reversal. And then just supporting the patient, getting them onto their left side, again, as long as it's safe to do so, to keep their airway open, and just maintaining their ability to breathe effectively while the ambulance is en route.
So for those who may not be super familiar with this and may not realize how serious that it really is, what kinds of substances are you seeing that are most involved in these overdose cases right now, Josh?
Yeah, so it can be hard for us to tell sometimes in the field, but very commonly we're seeing heroin, we're seeing fentanyl, we're seeing some other drugs by different names. Is making a comeback in certain parts of the country, and so we're seeing combinations and multi-drug mixes out there that are really making it more difficult for naloxone to be as effective as we would normally see it be. But again, that's why it's so important to get the naloxone to the patient as early as possible, and that's where the public can help.
Yeah, I want to talk more about you mentioned what we as individuals can do, and that is to have Narcan on us so that, when needed, you have it to potentially be able to help others. But what about the role of let's say workplaces, of schools, of bars when it comes to saving lives? What should they be doing now, Josh?
Yeah, and again, very similar to what I said previously, the best thing that any business, public public gathering place can do is to have naloxone, an AED, stop the bleed equipment, have all of that stuff together right there where it's accessible to the people that work there, to the patrons that are at that location, so that if they do witness someone in distress from an overdose or a cardiac event, really any medical event, you can start to render aid as early as possible.
And Josh, for our viewers who are watching right now and want to be a part of the solution, want to be able to help when needed, how can they learn to recognize the signs of an overdose and get that Narcan training?
Yeah, the American Heart Association provides some great resources, both for naloxone training, life-saving training, right? CPR, AED use, and then also there are great resources from the Centers for Disease Control, Georgia Department of Public Health. All of those resources have information on how you can not only save a life through naloxone administration, but also through the application of other first aid techniques.
Let me ask you this, Josh. Where can we go for more resources, for more information on connecting with AmeriPro Health?
Yeah, for more information on connecting with us, you can go to our website at ameriprohealth.com.
So let me ask you about this, and this is, pertaining to you on a pretty personal level. What would you say is one of the more rewarding parts of what you do? I mean, you're the director of clinical services with AmeriPro Health. Tell me what it is you love about what you do, Josh.
Yeah, so it's really just the ability to impact health across our footprint, across our 9 states, and really being able to sit with our pre-hospital clinicians and our pre-hospital providers and see the difference that they make and talk with them about the things that they're doing every day to treat the conditions that they're seeing out in the street, including opiate use disorder.
Yeah. And I want to ask you this about those who are the first responders so often on the scene, those emergency medical services workers. I mean, I imagine that when you see something like an overdose and when it's something that you're dealing with all the time, in addition to all the other emergencies, that has to take a toll on them on a personal level. So is that something that you've seen that's just tough for them to be able to handle, to deal with?
Yeah, absolutely. We do a very stressful job. We see people from all walks of life in very difficult situations, and that does take a toll. But we really work with the providers, especially here at AmeriPro, to really build resilience and ensure that we're taking care of them because they're people as well, right? We work in a very human job, and sometimes we see some very amazing things, and we get to save a life or bring new life into the world, and sometimes it's a more unfortunate situation, but it definitely takes a toll both ways, and uh, there's just you learn to cope with those as well as use the resources that we have to help those providers cope with those situations.
All right. Well, one more question for you. For those who are just maybe tuning in, catching the back half of this or just a few minutes, what would you say the big takeaway is? We're talking about the statistics here, numbers up 58% on Narcan being administered on these calls, and specifically with this being National Substance Abuse Awareness Month. What do you hope that the big takeaway is for those who are catching the back half of this?
I think the big takeaway here is, you need to go out, you need to learn these life-saving techniques to help the people in your community. Make sure that you're going out, you're learning CPR, you're getting your public access naloxone from a pharmacy, you're, keeping aware of your surroundings and just always ready to save a life because you never know, again, when you may be out there and be able to positively impact someone's life that day by helping them through their medical emergency.
Very well said, and some good advice for us this morning. Josh Worth with AmeriPro Health. Josh, thank you so much for just shedding some light on the problem that's out there and how hopefully we can be a part of the solution here. So we certainly appreciate it, Josh, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, well, turning to the forecast now. Our weather today, you might have noticed things are a bit chillier as you stepped outside. So there's that part of things to talk about. Also, our meteorologist, Jonathan Stacy, has an eye on the tropics as well. So let's get right out to Jonathan and find out what we can expect weather-wise. Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Elise, and good morning to those of you at home and wherever you may find yourself on this Monday morning, especially if you've had to step outside. You have noticed that fall has finally fallen across the area with temperatures this morning in the 30s in some cases. We're at 39 degrees in Dalton. That was our starting temperature. 34 in Blairsville, 39 Canton. Here in Atlanta, yes, below 50 degrees at 49 degrees for a starting temperature, down to 40 there in Griffin, 44 in Athens, 46 in Eaton was how we started out the morning. But it's not where we start, folks. This is where we end up. And so there's some growth happening, but that growth is going to be a slow growth in temperatures, especially as you look out to the west. As we look at our 24-hour temperature change, you can see here that the brunt of the cold air really is locked in across northwest Georgia, and even for parts going down I-85 to the south and to the west of the metro area, you're already starting to warm up and meet the temperature that you actually wound up hitting at this time yesterday as you look out to the east. So what are the current temperatures across North Georgia at this hour? Well, you can see here, there's still some neighborhoods that are still trying to dig their way out. 50s. Blairsville coming in at 56 degrees, 59 in Canton. Meanwhile, here in Atlanta, we've already risen to 63 degrees, 64 in Eaton, 61 in Athens, even some 60s, low 60s that is popping up out to the west. We'll continue to grow this number likely into the lower 70s for most communities across the area. In the mountains, you'll likely top out with temperatures in the high 60s. So here in the Atlanta metro area, we'll go for 72 degrees for a high temperature today. The number's backing off fairly quickly as the sun sets, and we'll wake up to another round of chill in the air as we wake up on a Tuesday morning. Look at these numbers here. Not as bad as this morning, or not as cold as this morning, but I think some of the numbers will still once again catch you by surprise as you're walking out for a second day in a row. The average high for this time of the year is in the mid 70s, but the average low is in the lower 50s. So with all these numbers being in the 40s, you're definitely below average for this time of the year. 43 for the mountains. Come down into the metro area, you'll be slightly below 50 degrees to kick off the second day of the work week. Here's how your Tuesday will pan out. We'll throw in a few clouds, especially at points in time throughout the day as another cold front comes through. Meanwhile, temperatures, they're going to climb above average. Once again, I told you that your average highs for this time of the year are generally somewhere around 74, 73 degrees. Well, here in Atlanta tomorrow, we're going to top that by 3-4 degrees with a high of 78. That's here in the city. There's some communities, especially as you look out to the east here, Covington, Eaton, could easily bump 80 degrees. Okay, well, we're not looking at an outright return to the 80s because that cold front will come through and it will knock temperatures down once more. We'll talk about that in just a moment when we look at our 7-day forecast. But first, let's go to the tropics, where we are watching this cluster of thunderstorms blossom and bloom just to the west of the Lesser Antilles there. You can see it's a pretty robust system at this time, and we're just hours away likely from having our next named system. In fact, over the next 7 days, the National Hurricane Center is giving it an 80% chance of development, but I think our development window is likely within the next 24 to 48 hours. As we look at the potential impacts as the storm continues to move westward across the Caribbean Sea, we're going to look at our spaghetti plots, and you can see this westward push continues, but then there's a pretty solid curve to the north with the majority of the models turning to the north and impacts directly on the island of Hispaniola, specifically the country of Haiti as we get into the day Thursday. We stopped the clock at Thursday midnight, and you can see here once again a general share of the models have turned to the north, and that curve to the north is always pivotal, but once again it doesn't look like this storm is going to pass over on water, but making a landfall likely once again on the south part of the island of Hispaniola. That's as early as Thursday morning, and then kind of festering there throughout the day Friday. Going into the weekend, it looks like the remnants of whatever lasts, or if you still have a storm in place, they flow into areas just to the east of the Turks and Caicos. This is going to be a storm that is definitely worth watching, and it will likely have some impacts to major land masses. That said, there's some high mountains that divide the island of Hispaniola, really dividing the countries of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, that could likely tear the storm up as it tries to move over the island, but still we're going to have to watch it as it crosses to the north. The next name on the list is Melissa, and that will likely be the name that will be given to, once again, that cluster of storms. So let's take a look at our exclusive Fox weather model, something you'll only see here on Fox 5 and on our Fox weather properties. And you can see here we're getting a closed off circulation as early as Wednesday, and then a pretty robust part of the storm starts to graze the southern part of the island there, and then it looks like there could be a potential landfall once again sometime Thursday, and then still festering over the area into Friday. So nonetheless, something for us to watch, and once again it looks like this could be the first storm that outright has a pretty sizable impact on the Caribbean. From there, we'll see where it goes. Meanwhile, here at home, not much tropical air to be felt at all. In fact, the air is pretty dry, so we won't have much moisture to work with in terms of a front moving through yesterday or tomorrow giving us some rain. In fact, we had a front move through yesterday that knocked our temperatures down and gave many of us a shot at some showers, but tomorrow's chance is fairly meager, between 10 and 20%. By Wednesday, you can see here temperatures will languish in the 50s and the 60s for the majority of the day, and then a really chilly start to both Thursday and Friday mornings. More clouds in the sky for the weekend, and it looks like we could have some rain sneaking in by Sunday, Elise.
Hey, good to know. We certainly need it. I might have missed if you were talking, Jonathan, just about how the deficit that we're experiencing right now. So I'm guessing what we got on Sunday didn't put too much of a dent in what we needed it to, did it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
In fact, we talk about placing dents in droughts. I would call this a dousing. This is just like a spritz at best. And most of us, especially if you slept in, likely missed the rainfall. There were a couple people who reached out to me on social media like, I thought we were going to get some rain. And it's like, yeah, if you skipped an early wake-up call Sunday, decided to stay inside, you likely missed seeing the rain. But it did rain, but once again, the amounts were all below a half inch.
Well, we certainly need some, so keeping an eye on when we will potentially get some of that much-needed rain. So, Jonathan, thank you so much. Indeed. We appreciate it. Well, let's take a live look now at Washington, where it's a big day ahead for President Trump. Looking live here at the White House. He is scheduled to meet with the Australian Prime Minister today, Anthony Albanese. At the White House, we did see them walk in together, so I'm guessing here in just a few minutes that is a meeting that will be getting underway in the Oval Office. They're expected to talk about Australia's rare earth minerals trade and also the nuclear submarine deal between the two countries as well. So worth noting here, U.S. has a big trade surplus with Australia. It is among the countries with the lowest U.S. tariffs. Expected to be a positive meeting today between President Trump and the Australian Prime Minister. So that is something that we're keeping an eye on. I also want to share something else that is expected to happen there today. The LSU Shreveport pilots are expected to meet with President Trump after their perfect season. So they received an invitation from the president to be there from that. So I want to get into the stats here. Let me pull this up because this is so impressive. They're celebrating a perfect 59-0 season. Again, this invitation to visit D.C. is at the invitation of President Trump. They traveled there over the weekend. This meeting should happen sometime today with Shreveport native and Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. So that's something that they have to look forward to. So that's scheduled to start at 3 o'clock. You can expect there to be cameras that will be covering their big meeting there, but just a really exciting time for them. Again, this is the LSU Shreveport pilots who are in D.C. today to meet with President Trump. Well, still ahead this morning, we're going to do a deeper dive into the government shutdown. It's now in its 20th day. There's no end in sight. So we're hearing from both sides of the aisle in just a few minutes. Stick around for that. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for streaming with us on this Monday morning. Now it's time for the story of a man who is in a fight with cancer. It spanned for almost 3 decades. He's inspired an entire company and now a powerful movement of change. So let's bring him in. We've got Brian Balmes joining us now with more on his story and with how he has managed to survive and thrive despite these incredible obstacles he's gone through. So, Brian, thank you so much for being on with us. We certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hey, all right, let's dive into this. Tell us a little bit about your diagnosis, why it's rare, why it's so aggressive.
So I've had a myxoid liposarcoma, and sarcomas as a cancer group represent 1% of cancers in adults and 15% in children. And so the focus on research funds is not as public as some of the other cancers that we all see with breast cancer and others. So this initiative that Mayor has done to donate money to the Sylvester Miami Hospital University group that does very impactful research for sarcomas is very, very meaningful and very, very powerful.
Certainly so. I can imagine to a lot of people, to you, no doubt. Tell us a little bit more about what this fight has been like. I mean, you talk about 27 years that you have been a survivor, a cancer survivor, and dealing with the day-to-day. So give me an idea of what the day-to-day looks like for you and how this has impacted your life.
Yeah, it started when I was 29. My girls were 2.5 and 6 months old, and it was a surprise, as cancer always is, with a lump that I found in my abdomen, and we had it removed. The first 5 tumors were low grade, and then the 6th one, and they came every roughly 3 years or so, and then the 6th one turned high grade, and that's when chemotherapy started. I just finished the 9th time, and finished the last round of chemo March of this year. During this journey, I decided to become an Ironman triathlete, run 30, 40, 50 miles, swim 7,000 meters. It was my way of coping. We've gotten a lot of gifts from fighting cancer. My whole family, my children, we have 3 now. So all 3 of them have grown up with their dad having cancer throughout their lives. And the gifts that come from going through that are understanding what's important in life, focusing on the right things, being very goal oriented, and focused on how to live your life the best you can, because we never know what's coming our way.
And that is certainly true. You know what? There's a lot of things you could have done, Brian. You know, you never know what you'll do until you find yourself in this situation, just like you have. But how did you land on Iron Man? Like that being where you went with this?
Yeah. So when I was 29, I was still invincible because I was in my 20s, right? And I wasn't working out like I should. I wasn't eating properly like I should. And so I started doing 5Ks and 10Ks back in those days. And each time the cancer came, I decided I needed to do something more. So I marathoned, and then I half Ironman and did other triathlons, and then finally Ironman. And also running the 50 miler was very epic. And it basically is one of the ways that I tell the cancer, it's not in charge. It's just part of my life. And every time that I do one of those big things, it's a celebration of living.
Absolutely. My word. So how are you at it? I mean, do you have just finishing it, just doing it is one thing, finishing it is another, and then having good times is another thing on top of all that. So give us your stats.
So, man, that's not something we usually talk about, but I will.
Brag
So
on yourself a little bit.
my goal was to break 12 hours in the Ironman, and both of the Ironmans I did, it was I think 11:47 and 11:49. So I met that goal, which also is part of me. I'm a very type A, goal-driven individual, and running the 50 miles was actually harder than Ironman, to be honest with you. That was 9.5 hours of running. And so, 15 marathons and all that tied together, it's been a journey, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to be able to do those things.
Of course.
I encourage everybody, you don't have to do Ironman, just get out there and move your body.
Yeah.
Just eat the best you can and live.
That's some good advice. Tell me about your support system, because I can imagine the years that you've been through this and just everything that you've gone through on a day-to-day basis. And then you throw in Ironman, on top of all that. Who's your support system, Brian?
My wife and my children and my family. I have an enormous group of friends that we all did Ironman together. When I was going through chemo the first time, I had already done 1 Ironman. And my wife and my family said, you need to do a second when you're done with chemo and you've recovered. So 24 of my friends all joined me, and we did Florida together, which made it even more special at the time. So it takes everyone. Everyone here at Mayer in the electrical industry has also been amazing. Just I couldn't do it without everyone around me. This is not a solo journey. This is a group. As well as have my amazing doctors and medical care. It's just, we are blessed to have what the resources and the experts and the specialists that we have here.
You got a good team behind you. And I keep hearing you bring up Mayer, and I can't look at you without seeing it, right? It's on your shirt and it's on the wall behind you. Tell me about your role. Yeah, with them. I see that you work in a management role there at Mayer. So tell me a little bit about what you do.
So Mayer Electric Supply is part of the Rexel group globally. Mayer covers basically the East Coast all the way down to Florida and across through Alabama. We sell everything electrical to any facility, whether it's a stadium, an industrial facility, hospitals, business buildings, etc. I'm an electrical engineer, and so I focus on the automation, the drives, the things that run, controls, protect the motors. As well as engineering services to all of those customers, to contractors, to industrials, et cetera.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. That's what it sounds like to me, right? A lot of work that's being done, a lot of training that's going on. Time for
Sure.
those Ironman competitions. So certainly good to hear that. I want to talk about a gala that's coming up. It looks like this is Thursday, October 23rd, and one of the first things you mentioned to us, Brian, was just the importance of funding for research when it comes to sarcoma and hopefully being able to help those. So tell me about the gala and if there's a way that we're able to give.
So the gala was a great idea that expanded on mayor's focus on giving back to community. We have always been that way. Our original owners started the Mayor Cares program, and this is a taking that to the next level. So each year we'll choose an employee like myself to say what is the organization that you'd like to donate these funds to. So our suppliers like Schneider Electric, and a whole bunch of other suppliers, as well as our associates and their families have donated. And we have $100,000 that we'll give to that Sylvester Miami Hospital University. They're going to expand their genetic library on my type of sarcoma, which will help when you're figuring out treat future treatments like targeted cell therapy, et cetera. So very, very powerful and moving to be able to support the sarcoma research. And when sarcoma research is done, it helps globally. Yeah. So it's not just here locally. This is big picture across all the folks with sarcomas. So roughly 7,600 people die every year from sarcomas in the United States. 225,000 of us are living with it in the United States. So even though it's 1% of adult cancers, it's still a lot of people.
Sure. All right, I'm going to ask you two questions for this last question. Two things that I'm wondering about. A, how are you doing right now? What is your prognosis right now? What are doctors telling you? And then if you'll share some advice for those who maybe have a new cancer diagnosis or they've been living with it for a few years, some words of encouragement for them, Brian.
Sure, absolutely. So I am what's called NED, which is no evidence of disease. I literally have my scans that I do every 3 months on Wednesday, which just so happens to be before the gala. So I will have my results when I get to present where I am cancer-wise. We basically know that it's coming back. That's not being pessimistic. That's not being optimistic. It's being realistic. I'm an engineer, so I like facts and data. Because I know one of these days it's going to come, and it could be 3 months, it could be 3 years, it could be 10 years. It's coming. That way I'm ready emotionally. And so it's living with it. And it also brings back to the reality I've said a couple of times is just living life while you can. So my advice is, first of all, you are your own advocate. Your doctors are your support. You are in charge of your treatments, of how your attitude is, and how positive you focus on fighting this disease. You cannot control the cancer, but you can control how you react to that. And this goes with anything that we face in adversity in our lives. Find the best doctors, focus on keeping yourself as healthy as you can, control what you can. That's one of the reasons I chose fitness. I can control that. And there's something special about choosing the pain that I can control when you're doing a race like that, or if you're just walking 3 miles because that's what you're going to do. It helps you mentally and physically, because when the surgeries come or the chemotherapy rounds come, a body that's in good shape handles that better, recovers faster, so you can get back to living your life.
Some words of encouragement, some words for all of us to live by. Brian, I got to tell you, you go beyond being an inspiration. Your life is incredible, and I'll be cheering you on every step of the way as you hopefully prepare for your next Ironman competition, and of course, help raise some money at this gala that's coming up too. So, Brian, thank you so much for taking time to share your story with us, and it's certainly appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Brian, thank you. All right, we want to take another live look at the White House. The president is meeting with the Australian Prime Minister. Let's listen into what they're saying.
Here to the White House and for showing us around the improved Oval Office and for what you're doing around here as well, and for the great honour as well of my delegation staying just across the road. We could have walked, but they didn't let us. We drove all of 20 metres there from Blair House. But it's a great honour to be able to stay there. We are great friends and we're great allies. And this is a relationship that's been forged in the battlefields of the world. We have stood side by side for freedom and democracy. And congratulations, I must say, Mr. President, on the work that you've done with the Middle East. It's an extraordinary achievement. And on defence, we've already had a discussion about taking it to the next level. Our defence and security partnership with AUKUS is so important for us, and I thank you for the support that the administration are giving as well. You've had the Chief of the Navy here as well, which will play obviously a very critical role with the subs and increasing the security for the region and the world. And our economic relationship is so important. The US has a trade surplus with Australia, as you know, and we can continue to take what is every opportunity to improve the relationship even further and make it even stronger. And today's agreement on critical minerals and rare earths is just taking it to the next level, seizing those opportunities which are before us to take our relationship to that next level. And it's been fantastic, the contact that we've had together, the friendship that we've developed. And Australians love America, and I think Americans kind of like Australia too.
That's true, we do.
And as we go forward, I think that today will be seen as a really significant day in our relationship. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony. It's an honor to sign this, and we'll do it now. And then we'll take some questions. Some good ones, I think. Okay.
Well, this is a $8.5 billion pipeline that we have ready to go.
That's right. It's all ready to go.
Just getting started.
And we're doing a real job on rare earth and many other things. Perhaps I could ask John to say a few words, and then we'll exchange papers. But just how are we doing on your naval purchases and all of the submarines that we're working on with Australia? How's that going?
All right. So what you're seeing right now there, President Trump meeting with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese there at the White House this morning. Some signatures being done, pen to paper there, as we just saw. But there's a lot of things on the agenda for them today, including rare earth minerals, Australia's rare earth minerals. They're expecting to make a deal with the U.S. on that trade. Of course, a big topic as well, a nuclear submarine deal today, too. Want to mention this because this is an important part of this. The U.S. does have a trade surplus with Australia, which is among the countries with the lowest U.S. tariff. So we should see quite a bit come out of this meeting today with President Trump and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese of Australia. We will stay on top of that, and we'll bring you the very latest on what is happening there. So again, a very busy day for the president today, but this is what's happening now, this meeting with the Australian Prime Minister. But still ahead for you this morning, there's a Diwali celebration that's happening in Lilburn, and we have our Chris Rosenthal, who is live there, giving us a look around and what we can expect. Stick around. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We're glad to have you with us on this Monday. So we're talking Diwali now. It's the Festival of Lights, and it's celebrated by members of the Indian community and really people all around the world. It's a multi-day festival, and it spans several days before and after the official Diwali date. There's a celebration that's happening today in Lilburn. So for all of you in Gwinnett County, this is huge. We've got our Chris Rosenthal on the ground exploring and giving us a live look at what's happening there and what's planned for today. Chris, good to see you. Good morning.
Hey, good to see you. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear. They got the blowers out.
Yeah,
this
just
morning,
in
getting
time,
everything
right?
Ready for the. Yeah, just in time. Always getting ready for the Diwali festival and events that'll really be kicking off this evening. You can come here around 5 o'clock. When things will be getting started, and there will be fireworks. There will be food. There will be a little ceremony around 7, and then fireworks after that. But I'm here at the mandir. It's a temple. Mandir meaning basically a piece, still mind. And you can see the temple behind me. You can go ahead, sir. So, I'm just going to flip the camera around, just kind of show you some of the things that we'll expect to see. In fact, you can see already people are sort of showing up, getting their picture taken. It's really beautiful if you've ever been out here before. But all these candles will be they will all be lit up. I'm going to walk up here a little bit and show you. They got the temple all lit up. This is all marble, by the way, and it was all Italian marble, and it was carved in India, and they brought it all over here and assembled it all here. This has been here since about 2005, so absolutely beautiful here in Lilburn if you've never been. But this evening there will be fireworks. This is like we said, the Festival of Lights, the idea of light, driving out darkness. But yeah, this is going to be going on around 5 o'clock. You can come here. You can also go inside as well. I took a peek inside earlier. No pictures are allowed, but it's absolutely beautiful. There are candles on the ground. There's these beautiful designs there called rangoli. They're really beautiful, intricate marble carvings. And you can come celebrate Diwali here. They estimate, several thousand people coming out. This happens every fall. This festival happens. This year happens to be on a Monday. Some years it's on a different day. It's based on the lunar calendar. But yeah, this is open for everybody. It's free. There is food. You do have to pay for that, but yeah, open for anybody to come on out. But do come on out early if you do decide to come out this evening, because they do expect a very big turnout.
There's going to be a lot of folks out there for this, Chris. I got to tell you, in just looking around and seeing where you are, the comments that we tend to get every year as we're live out there is that people don't realize this incredible temple is in Georgia. It's not like anything that you typically see here. So being out there, seeing it in person, I mean, what are some of your takeaways from just how gorgeous it is, Chris?
Oh, it's beautiful, and this is all hand, it's all hand carved. It's all real marble. This is not plastic stuff here. It's breathtaking. I mean, you don't have to be religious necessarily, or anybody can come and appreciate this. There's only 6 of these mandirs with the BAPS, which is a sect. There's only 6 of these in North America. So it's really pretty special that we have this one right here in Georgia, in Lilburn.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. And as you were talking, showing you some of the videos of last year and seeing the fireworks and the crowds and just the beauty of all of it. So it seems to be one of those things that if you have the opportunity to check out in Lilburn today, that it's certainly worth it. But yeah, an exciting day ahead there in Lilburn as they prepare to celebrate Diwali. So Chris, thank you so much for giving us a look around and telling us what we can expect tonight. This is truly something that's special. So our Chris Rosenthal there with us. All right, well, ahead for you at noon, we will have a check of the forecast. Also, we've showed you quite a bit about what President Trump is up to in Washington today, so I'm sure that they will fill you in on more of what is on the schedule. Also, the government shutdown now in its 20th day, so some important conversations to be had, and we will be filling you in on what we're seeing from both sides of the aisle if we're any closer to reaching a deal in this government shutdown in its 20th day. So thank you so much for joining us here, and we'll see you at noon. Hope you have a great Monday.